Okay, so this is a recorded video for financial statement analysis. So before tayo mag-proceed sa handout ninyo, we have to understand first what is the importance of your financial statement analysis. So financial statement analysis is important because as accountants, you are to provide information to your users and to help them understand what is going on with your financial statements. Okay. Bago ko pumunta dito sa ratio analysis, meron kasing hindi na-discuss sa handout ninyo, which I think is also important when it comes to actual practice. So, there are actually three three ways on how we analyze financial statement. Number one, we have your ratio analysis, which we will be doing later on. Yun yung po yung nasa part ng handout ninyo. We also have yung tinatawag nating horizontal at saka vertical analysis. Okay. So pag horizontal, sige, unahin muna natin yung vertical para isang sulat na lang tayo. So pag vertical analysis, para hindi kayo malito, um, 'di ba yung letter V, bababa. Okay, bababa tapos pataas. So, ang flow ng ng analysis natin is from top to bottom. Okay. So, ang ginagamit sa vertical analysis is dalawa po. Depende sa kung anong klase ng financial statement yung ginagawa natin ng analysis. So, kapag income statement, usually ang 100% po diyan is yung sales. Pag balance sheet, usually ang 100% po diyan is your total assets. Okay. Para mas ma-picture po ninyo, let's take this one as an illustration. So meron tayong income statement. Meron tayong sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit. We also have your general and admin expenses. And then you have your operating income. And you have your taxes, which is 25% of your operating income. And then you have your net income. Okay. So, ang sales natin is 5 million. 1 million ang cost of goods sold. Gross profit ninyo is 4 million. And we have general and administrative expenses of 2 million. Operating income is 2 million. 25% is 500,000. And then your net income is 1.5 million. So pag vertical analysis, you are comparing or computing for the percentage ng mga items sa income statement doon sa ating sales. So, 5 million is at 100% kasi nga yung sales ninyo is 100%. Yung cost of goods sold nyo, i-divide ninyo yan sa sales. So, 1 million divided by 5 million, ulit 1 million divided by 5 million, this will be 20%. Okay. So, kung binabalik niyo lang po siya doon sa inyong sales kasi income statement to ang 100% natin is sales. Okay. And then for your gross profit, this is 80%. Yung 2 million, the over 5 million, that is 40%. And then this one is also 40%. 500,000 divided by 5 million, that is 10%. Okay? Net income ninyo is 30% of 5 million. So, income statement yan, Same goes through with your balance sheet. Kunwari, ang hinahanap mo percentage ng cash. Okay? I-divide nyo lang yung amount ng cash doon sa inyong total asset. Okay? Pero mas madali kasi kapag income statement. Alright. So, saan ba ginagamit yung vertical analysis? Ang vertical analysis, ginagamit po natin yan doon sa mga industries na magkakaiba. Okay? At the same time, yung mga companies na um, magkakaiba ng amount. For example, isang sari-sari store versus a grocery store. Okay, magkaiba sila, 'di ba, ng capitalization, amount as to capitalization. Pero para ma-compare natin sila, kailangan gawin nating apples to apples yung kanilang metrics. Okay, so ang gagawin natin, i-compare natin magkano ba ang naging net income ng business ng sari-sari store? Magkano ba ang naging net income ng business ng grocery, pero into percentage para maging comparable silang dalawa. Yun po yung use ng vertical analysis. Okay. Ngayon naman, punta tayo doon sa tinatawag nating horizontal analysis. Sa horizontal analysis, I will also use the same example. Horizontal, nakikita nyo yung letter H. Para hindi kayo malito, yung letter H, ibig sabihin, may bar siyang ganun, di ba? Ibig sabihin, ang way ng inyong compare is from left to right or right to left. Okay? Dito sa vertical, di ba, meron tayong pababa tapos pataas. So kung mapapansin ninyo, kino-compare natin ito pataas. Okay? Or ito pababa. Okay? So yun ang clue ninyo para hindi kayo malito kung anong gagawin. So punta tayo sa horizontal analysis. Sa horizontal analysis, mas madalas po itong ginagamit kapag nako-compare tayo ng values from one period to another. Okay, so for example, this one is 2025. Okay, delete ko lang ha. And then, i-compare natin yung amounts as to a base year. Okay, usually, kapag ang base year, kapag ang years involved is only 2, yung mas previous date yung ginagamit natin as base year. Pero pag sinabi sa problem, kunwari tatlong financial statement yan. Tapos ang sinabi sa problem, specific year yung magiging base year, syempre susundin natin yung problem. Okay. So for example, ito 2024. Okay. Um, gawin natin 4 million. And then 800,000. This is 3.2 million. General and admin expenses, 1.5 million. So this is 1.7 million. This is 25% ng 1.7. This is 425,000. Is 1,275,000. Okay. So paano ginagawa yung horizontal analysis natin? So, um, ang ginagawa po dyan is yung current year or kung ano yung tinatanong, current year minus yung base year, amounts ng base year over base year. Kasi tinitingnan mo kung anong percent yung increase or decrease. So for example, tinatanong kayo ilang percentage increase ang sales ng 2025 compared to 2024. Okay, percentage of sales. Okay, so ang current year natin, we have 5 million minus 4 million divided by 4 million. Okay, so this is 1 million over 4 million. This is, ang increase ninyo is 25%. Okay, so ang nangyayari, lalagay natin dito, increase of 25%. Or actually, kahit positive lang. Pag negative, pag bumaba, i-close in parenthesis ninyo. So, kunwari lang ha, Kunwari lang yung cost of goods sold ninyo bumaba, gagawin ninyong ganyan. Kunwari lang, okey? So, diyan nakikita kung ano yung performance ng companies, okey? So, that is your vertical analysis and horizontal analysis. Siningit ko lang kasi hindi po siya nabanggit sa handout ninyo, but I think this is also important to remember or matutunan. Okay. Next, sa ratio analysis naman tayo. When we're talking about ratio analysis po, um, metrics po ito na ginagamit in order to assess the um, different status status ng isang company. So meron tayong iba't ibang klase ng ratios. You have your liquidity ratios. Liquidity is the ability of the firm to pay off debts within 1 year. So within 1 year, ibig sabihin this is short term. Lagi po itong binibigay sa board exam, kaya gagawan ko na kayo ng clue. Okay? We have your asset management ratios which tells you the efficiency kung paano ba nila na-maximize yung assets. We also have your debt management ratios or it gives you an idea on how the firm pay its long-term debt. Ang debt management ratios, ang other term po niyan ay solvency. Kabaliktaran po yan ng liquidity. Kasi remember, pag sa liquidity, short term. Si solvency, long term. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng magpareho si liquidity, hindi pwedeng magpareho si letter L at saka si S. Okay? So, yun yung clue ninyo. Pag tinatanong kayo, liquidity, short term yan parate. Pag ang hinahanap sa atin solvency, long term yan parate. Okay. Yung profitability naman talks about ability of the firm to generate profit. Okay. And then you also have your market value ratios which gives an idea to the investors kung ano na yung value ng kanilang equity sa company. Okay. So, una muna tayo sa liquidity. So, sa liquidity, the ability of the firm to pay its short-term obligations. So, pag short-term obligations po, usually ang makikita natin dito, current liabilities. Siyempre, mabilisan yung pambayad. Ang makikita nyo rin po na ginagamit dito is your current assets. Short-term eh. Okay, so current liabilities and current assets. Okay. So we have um tat- dalawa. Dalawa lang na ratios for liquidity ratios. You have your current ratio. Current ratio, ibig sabihin, current assets is equals to your current liabilities. And then you have your asset test ratio or your quick ratio. Okay. Your asset test or quick ratio is parehas lang ng current ratio. It's just that babawasan mo yung current assets ng inventories. Bakit? Kasi sa liquidity, it is the ability of the firm to pay its short-term obligation. Pag inventories kasi, kailangan mo pa siyang ibenta. Di ba? Hindi mo naman sure kung may bibili pa niyan. So, para makita mo kung magkano yung quick ratio, how much cash you are able to produce ng mabilis talaga, you have to exclude from your current assets ang iyong inventories. Kasi bibenta mo pa, which we don't know kung kailan mo yan mabibenta. Okay? So for example, ang current assets mo is 1.5 million and then your current liabilities is 500,000 pesos. So ibig sabihin, ano ang ibig sabihin yan? You have 1.5 divided by 500,000, you have 3. Okay? So current ratio is 3. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ibig kong sabihin nito for every um, liability na meron ka, for every peso ng liability na meron kang kaya mo magbayad ng 3 pesos. Okay? Mataas to. Okay? Kasi paano kapag ganito naman? Baliktarin natin. What if ang current assets mo over your current liabilities is baliktad? Oh, 1.5 million. 500,000 lang yung meron ka, pero ang utang mo, 1.5 million. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ka liquid. Bakit? Wait lang. 500,000 divided by 1.5 million. Ibig sabihin, meron ka lang 0.33 pesos. Okay? So bawat utang mo, sa bawat pisong utang mo, ang kaya mo lang maibayad ay 0.33. Hindi ka liquid. Okay? So para mo masabi na liquid ang isang company, dapat more than one. One or more. One or more. Ha? Kasi pag one or more sa bawat piso na meron ka, may bawat pisong utang na meron ka may pambabayad na piso. Pero pag naka-decimal yan, kulang yan para i-pay off mo yung obligation mo. Okay. So same with your quick ratio, the formula for your quick ratio is your current assets minus inventories divided by current liability. Okay. Next, we move on to your asset management ratios. Sa asset management ratios, um, ang madalas po nating ginagamit dito ay yung inventory turnover ratios at saka yung days outstanding ratios. So pag turnover ratio, ibig sabihin, ilang beses ba sa isang taon umiikot ang 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 iyong inventories, nagpapalit ng inventory. So paano natin 'yan kino-compute? Okay. Pero i-correct lang natin 'to ha. Ang inventory turnover ninyo is your sales over, lagi pong kapag turnover laging may average inventory. Okay. Pero 'pag siyempre isa lang yung inventory amount na binigay, yun na yung kunin ninyo. So for example, ang sales natin ay 3.6 million. Okay. Um, Anong gagawin natin? I-di-divide natin 'yan sa inventory ninyo na 800,000. Okay. So 3.6 divided to 800,000, you have 4.5. Okay. Ang ibig pong sabihin sa isang taon, 4.5 times ka po magpapalit ng inventory. Okay? So, 4.5 times ka po magpapalit ng inventory. Okay. So, actually, pwede ninyong convert ito into days outstanding. Paano naman yun? Di ba sabi ko 4.5 sa isang taon. Depende kasi sa problem kung 360 or 365 ang ginagamit na days sa isang taon. So para magawa natin to ng day sales, inventory outstanding, days of inventory outstanding or age of inventory, you have to divide, kunwari ang binigay na number of days sa isang taon ay 360. I-di-divide nyo lang yan sa 4.5. Okay? Kasi yan yung turnover mo ng inventory. So, 360 divided by 4.5, ibig sabihin, that is 80 days. So, every 80 days, magpapalit ka po ng, tama ba? Parang mali. Oo, tama. Every 80 days, magpapalit ka po ng inventory. So, magagamit mo din 'to kapag mag-order ka. So, alam mo na 4.5 days ka nagpapalit or nagkakaroon ng turnover ng inventory. So, i-divide mo 'yan sa 360 or 365, depends upon the problem. Pero minsan po, mas madalas pala, if the problem is silent, you use 365. So, in this case, sabi ko 360 gamitin natin. Okay? So every 80 days, kailangan mo magpalit ng inventory. So the age of your inventory is 80 days. Okay? Next, punta naman tayo sa days out sales outstanding ratio. So sa days outstanding sales ratio, it's also known as your age of inventory. Ito naman is age of receivables. Anong sinasabi dito? Ang sinasabi po sa age of receivables is, ang sinasabi po sa age of receivables is yan po yung days kung ilang amount outstanding yung receivables mo bago mo siya makolect or ma-convert into cash. So same with our example kanina, you just divide 365 o 365 yung ginamit or 360 ha, depends upon the problem. Minsan kasi sinasabi nila 365. So you just divide 365 with your accounts receivable turnover. Okay. Kapag meron kayong accounts receivable turnover, i-divide nyo lang po yun sa 365 para nga makuha natin yung days outstanding. Same with our computation kanina sa inventory turnover. So, paano ba natin makukuha your AR turnover? Your AR turnover is your sales divided by accounts receivable. Okay? Diba? You have your AR or your sales over AR. Oh. Diba, i-divide ko nga kasi to ng 365. O, gamitan nyo ng reciprocal method. Diba? Ang mangyayari, i-multiply ko to over 1 divided by 365. So, para ang nangyari, ito yung ending natin. Okay? Okay. So, annual sales divided by 365. Reciprocal method, diba? Tapos sales times 365. Tapos yung AR yung nasa taas. Nasa baba pala. Tama ba? Yeah. So, you just memorize the formula. Okay? Pero mamaya bibigyan ko kayo ng technique kung paano yan i-memorize. Okay. This is also turnover ratio. So fixed assets turnover sales divided by average net fixed assets. Ang asset turnover naman is sales over total assets. So kung mapapansin nyo, lagi bang sales yung nasa taas? It depends. Kasi po ang inventory turnover natin is um, teka, parang mali yung inventory turnover natin. Should be cost of goods sold eh. Double check ko lang ha. Oo. Mali ang inventory turnover ratio na 'to. It's not sales. It should be cost of goods sold. Should be average inventory. Bakit gano'n? Kasi ganito po 'yan, ang shortcut po natin for turnover ratio say for example, X turnover is equal to income statement related account to average of X, okay? So nag-iisa lang 'tong si inventory turnover. 'Di ba 'pag inventory, ang related account diyan is cost of goods sold. So ang income statement related account natin is cost of goods sold. Average of X, 'di ba ang hinahanap natin? Inventory. So ang formula is average of inventory. Actually, si inventory turnover lang yung may numerator na cost of goods sold. Almost all sales po yun. So 'pag ang hinahanap sa atin ay AR turnover or accounts receivable turnover, o ito careful din kayo dito. 'Di ba hindi naman lahat ng sales ay credit sales. Magkakaroon ka lang ng accounts receivable kapag may credit sales. So credit sales over average AR. Oh, ito yung main formula natin sa turnover eh. Okay? So kahit na anong turnover ratios, kayang-kaya nyo lang sagutin. Basta memorize nyo lang yan. Okay? Next, punta tayo sa debt management ratios or your solvency ratios. So your solvency ratios is it provides you an information as to the ability of the company to pay off its long-term obligation. So meron tayong debt to capital ratio. So debt to capital is equals to total debt over total capital. Okay? Total capital, mali po ito. This is debt to over equity. Yan po ang formula niyan. Kasi ang total capital is not naman daw total debt or plus equity. Your debt, total debt to total capital is also known as your debt to equity ratios. Okay? So it's total liabilities over your total equity. Yung times interest earned naman, we have discussed about earnings before interest and taxes. You have to divide that to the interest charges. So ang sinasabi po sa times interest earned, from the earnings, ilang beses ka ba makakapagbayad dyan ng interest? Okay? Tinitingnan po yan ng mga creditors. Kasi sa interest sila kumikita. Next, we have to go to your profitability ratios. So operating margin, um, your operating margin is also known as your ROI. Okay? It's your EBIT over sales. Your operating margin is EBIT, earnings before interest and taxes, over sales. Actually, in some cases, your operating margin is also known as your profit margin. Kaso alam naman natin na ito before interest and taxes. Pag net income, na minus na po dyan yung interest and taxes. Pero mas madalas pang tinatanong sa exam yung profit margin. So your profit margin is net income over sales. Net income over sales. Okay. Or your profit margin is also known as your return on sales. Okay. It's also known as your return on sales. Your profit margin is also known as your return on sales. Yung return on assets is your ability na ma-recover yung total assets na in-invest mo sa company. So it's net income over total assets. While your return on common equity, or actually, equity lang yan. Ewan ko bakit nila ginagamit yung common equity. Return on common equity or return on equity, it's net income over your equity. Okay? Return on common equity is return, or other term is ROE. Si ROE is return on equity, that's net income over equity. Okay? Return on invested capital is your earnings before interest and taxes multiplied by 1 minus tax rate divided by the invested capital. Okay? Pero hindi masyadong binibigay po ito sa board exam. Ang favorite po nila is si ROS, ROA, at saka si ROE, at saka si ROI. Okay? Si ROS, si return on sales. Si ROA, siya si return on assets. Si ROE, siya si return on equity. Tapos meron pa tayong ROI, si return on investment. Ang return on investment is your net income over your investment. Okay? So para hindi kayo masyadong maguluhan sa pag-memorize, bigay ko yung formula ng returns. Ang return on, show natin ito yung hinahanap, si X. Your return on X is equals to net income over X. For example, ang hinahanap, return on, ang X natin ay si sales. Diba? Net income over sales. Pag ang hinahanap, return on equity, net income over equity. Kapag ang hinahanap si ROA, si return on assets, net income over total assets. Pag hinahanap, return on investment, net income over investment. Minsan, si ROA nagiging si ROI. Okay? Sometimes, si ROA nagiging si ROI. Kasi 'di ba, ano ba yung investment mo? Eh di total assets lang din. Okay? Minsan nagbabago siyang anyo. Okay? So pag ang walang sinabi kung magkano yung naging investment, you assume it is your assets. Yun yung investment natin. Okay. So punta naman tayo sa market value ratios. Ang market value ratios is ang focus natin dito is your shareholders. We have your price earnings ratios. Your price earnings ratios is price per share divided by earnings per share. Para makita natin magkano ba yung sa um, sa market price over doon sa ating earnings. We also have your market value per share at saka book value per share. So, ang book value per share or your BEPS, wala akong maibibigay na formula dito ha. Common equity divided by shares outstanding. Okay? So, as per books, magkano yung magkano yung share ng common equity? Well, your market market book value per share, market price per share, palitan natin to. It's your market price per share is equals to your market price per share divided by your book value per share. Ah, okay, gets. Sige, mali tayo, tama. So, market price to book value per share. Market price to book value per share ratio. Yan. So, that's the formula for that is your market price per share divided by book value per share. Okay. So, saan ba ginagamit itong mga ratio analysis na to? We are using it to compare industry average, benchmarking, compare mo yung company mo sa performance ng sino ba yung leader sa market. We also use this for trade analysis. Okay? Uses and limitations. Ang uses and limitations, hindi po to ganun ka-accurate. Okay? Kasi nagko-compare ka ng company to another company. Hindi mo naman alam yung pinagko-comparean mo, nakuha mo ba lahat ng information. Okay? So, before ako mag-end dito sa lecture na to, I will just summarize yung mga shortcuts natin kanina. Okay. So, kanina, ang na-discuss po natin is meron tayo yung first is yung return ratios. Okay. So, for example, return on X. Okay. Ang return on X, ang formula niyan is your net income over X. Okay, so for example, return on sale, net income over sales lang tayo. And we have your turnover ratios. For example, X turnover. Ang X turnover is yung income statement related account over average of X. Okay? And then, meron pa tayong number 3, um, wait lang, yung age. Okay. So, ang X turnover. Okay. So, next is yung age of X. Ang age of X is yung kunwari sa accounts receivable. Gaano katagal siyang outstanding. Okay? That is your, sige, 365 na lang natin. I-divide natin yung 365 over your X turnover. Ganyan lang. Okay? Pero dapat alam ninyo yung turnover formula natin para makuha nyo yung X turnover. Ano pa? We also have your X to Y ratio. Okay, for example, ang X to Y ratio is X sa numerator and then si Y sa denominator. So for example, meron ang hinahanap sa inyo ay debt to equity ratio. Okay? Ibig sabihin, yung X ninyo, andito yung liabilities, and then nasa denominator, yung inyong equity. Kasi debt to equity ratio. So, X to Y ratio. Okay. Another example, yung kaninang sinosolve natin. You have your, ano na yun? Yung last dito. Ayan. Market price per share to book value per share. Market price per share to book value per share ratio. O, ang hinahanap. O, di nandito yung market price per share over book value per share. Debt to Y ratio. Okay? Malinaw? So, yan po yung formulas na kailangan ninyong tandaan para kahit na anong ratio ang itanong sa inyo, alam ninyo. And then we also have to discuss yung tinatawag nating DuPont technique. So, sa DuPont technique, tatlo po yung mini-measure nito. Yung liquidity, yung asset utilization, at saka yung um, leverage natin or yung solvency natin. Okay. So, sa DuPont technique, ito si Ross, Ato, M. Okay. So, si Ross, return on sales is a measure of your profitability. Your asset turnover is a measure of efficiency ng asset, diba? And then your equity multiplier is a measurement of your leverage or ability to pay the um, the long-term liability. Okay. So, si DuPont technique, ang end goal po nito is makompute yung inyong return on equity. Okay. So, tatandaan nyo lang po si Ross, Ato, at saka si M. Diba? Si Ross, says return on sales. So, alam niyo na ang formula ng return on sale is net income over sales. Okay? And si asset turnover, di ba? Ang formula ng asset turnover ninyo is sales over average assets. At si equity multiplier ninyo, ang formula po niyan ay average assets at saka over equity. Okay. So, di ba, ika-cancel natin to. Pinawala na sila. Ka-cancel din natin to. So, kung titignan ninyo, pag ang pinapahanap sa inyo ay si equity, tapos ito ang given sa inyo, madali lang. Okay? Kasi ang end goal nitong return on sales times asset turnover times equity is your net income over equity, which is the formula for your return on equity. Okay? So ito lang actually ang binabaon po ng formulas sa CPA board exam. At saka syempre yung horizontal and vertical analysis. Okay, so you memorize this one. Hindi kayo pwedeng graduate sa akin nang hindi nyo ito na memorize. Okay? So that's for your financial statement analysis.